Misunderstood Genius here. Today's guest is Danielle Elkins. She is Vice President of Advance Atlanta. Danielle, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
All right, no problem. We're going to jump right into the questions and learn more about Advance Atlanta. So what can you tell us about it?
So we started out of the Atlanta Regional Commission's Millennial Advisory Committee, which is kind of a mouthful, but it was the ARC is our metropolitan planning organization for the Atlanta region, and they do all long-range planning for transportation, housing, and other issues. And they weren't getting enough feedback from millennials because we communicate in a different way, and so they put a call out for basically millennials that wanted to be more civically active and give back. So Advance Atlanta is basically the group from that cared about transit.
Okay.
So we all came together like-minded, thinking we want to champion a regional transit system for the first time and have a nonprofit that really touches the entire region, but is not just based on a certain area that you live in or a certain demographic. It's for everybody. And we just happen to be a group of young professionals that are championing it.
Amazing. Wow. So why Advance Atlanta? You know, what made you want to join something like this? Well, I mean, being your position as vice president, what?
I'm a little unique. Me personally, in my background, I have a degree in civil engineering, and I used to do transportation design engineering back in the day. Yeah, so I have kind of the technical background, but it also, transportation for me has always been something that is very technical and interesting, but also has a direct connection to people. And I think, I don't know if it's a uniquely millennial thing, but I think everybody wants to be connected in some way, and for me, transportation is the way that I can make an impact in a technical way that helps people be connected in a more social way. So it's connecting people to opportunities, education, jobs, just the rest of their neighborhoods. It's for me kind of brings everybody together.
So you sense that disconnect here in the Atlanta as a city, it's not just metro.
It's just how I mean, you think about the history of Atlanta and how it was laid out and how things developed and how things changed, and so much of Atlanta is based on the racial identity, the history of what happened here and what has changed over time. And when you really look at the development patterns and what has happened, so much of the transportation has either impacted neighborhoods in a bad way or a good way, and that is a huge part of the identity of Atlanta and uniquely Atlanta. But when you look at what we have today, it's not as good as it could be. I'll say that. It's
we need to catch
challenging.
Up.
Yeah, we still have some of the division that's left over from the history that really needs to be fixed, whether it's bringing transit to areas that haven't been open to it in the past, or improving the streets so that they're more accessible for better sidewalks, better bike lanes, things that make you want to get out and interact more in your community instead of just getting in your car and going from one place to another.
And they have actually implemented more bike lanes downtown. I don't know if you've seen it on Peachtree, and they're fairly wide.
They are.
With a curb bump so that the cars can't necessarily have them.
Apparently some taxi drivers still think, oh, this is a parking area for me. There's been some challenges, which they're working on still. But it's progress in the right direction. The city finally has a chief bicycle officer, and the Bicycle Coalition has done a really good job of advocating for more lanes and more separated lanes that are safer, because there are certain streets that we have lanes already, but most people, and I think a lot of women in particular, don't feel safe after, and you hear about accidents all the time.
How do you feel in the position as vice president? What do you want to tell them? What do you want them to feel when you speak on it?
I hope that that we make the issue of transportation accessible to anybody. It's not a super technical thing. It should be something that everybody is a user of transportation in some way, so everybody should be able to interact with it in the way that they want to. So we try to just make it as approachable as possible and empowering people to get more involved and have more of an impact on what's going on. It's really easy to be like, that's a super technical issue and someone else is dealing with it. But what I try to remind people is that it really is like all the way down to the neighborhood level of, does the sidewalk on your street work? Does it just stop at the end and that's it? Kind of hoping for more and expecting more out of where you live and where you go, and questioning. It could be better, and how, and I should expect it to be better, basically.
So how do we do that? How do we, as far as garnering, stakeholders, partners, building coalition, building community? How is Advance Atlanta going about doing that?
Pretty big. For us, we our first immediate goal when we talked as a group was we wanted to develop a grassroots network. And for us, that means having people in either different city council NPUs, just neighborhood planning unit areas, or in the larger suburban areas. Maybe we start out with this one person is in charge of each county. And the whole point of it is when you have the people that are in those communities that can see what's going on, not only can they take the information that they're learning about in their community in terms of what projects are happening, what's on the ballot, what areas are most problematic that need the most resources for that area, like they truly know and live that. So they can feed that information back into Advance Atlanta, and in the same hand, Advance Atlanta can take the bigger picture information and then get that back out as well.
Right.
So we're a huge goal of ours right now. We're redoing our entire website. We're rebranding. We're restructuring our board. We've been around for a year now, so we feel like we want to focus all of our energy on what do we want to accomplish in the next 18 months. So we're restructuring to get there. And a big part of the website, we got a grant from American Public Transportation Association to redo our entire website and have it more geographically focused. So if you go on the website and you live in Cobb County, you can go and find all the events or all the projects that are coming up in Cobb County.
Okay,
or
excellent.
if you live in a certain neighborhood in the city of Atlanta, same thing. And you can sign up for an email list that maybe you want an email once a month or once every week or whatever it is based on your preferences on what projects are happening, what public meetings are happening, what service changes are happening for transit, like all different things. So it's so hard to find public information, and we want to make that as easy as possible and like as geographically focused as possible. So there's a two-way communication.
Great, and then it allows for great feedback.
Yes.
It's an easy access point for great feedback, because a lot of times when we're dealing with certain companies or anything, it's always hard to reach customer support and say, oh, I have these complaints.
Yeah.
Now can we work together on fixing these? And then it seems like you're going to make it easily accessible for people in different communities and cities and counties even to provide their feedback and also follow up.
Yeah.
Which is excellent.
It was like a liaison for each geographic area. We have, grand ambitions. We'll start with whoever wants to get involved and be a liaison for their geographic area, and then have all the people be able to contact them to give them information and feed it up to us.
Now, is there a particular name for that? I saw something about design your ATL. Is there anything that goes along with that?
We basically, in our restructuring, one of the things that we're trying to do instead of just having a traditional board is we're going to do it based on task forces. Okay. And one of our task forces is going to be entirely engagement, public engagement. So that would be the area. If you want to be a liaison for geography, or you want to understand how to do grassroots advocacy, that would be the place, the committee to join and get involved in and be a liaison for, basically.
Okay, excellent. Okay, now I see you guys are, what you mentioned, you're continually trying to build a strong foundational support base, which is fairly difficult. Again, it's hard to reach masses of people here in Atlanta and get them on the same page with you. So is there anything upcoming that people can get involved with as far as any groups or any feedback or?
Yeah, so in the restructuring, these task forces, we want as many new volunteers to join the task forces as possible, and we hopefully it serves as a way for not only people to get more informed, but also to get more involved. So there's specific roles that will be opening to the public that we hope more people will come and volunteer and join our organization, depending on whatever area interests you or you're trying to get experience in. If you're a college student or a high school student and you want to learn a certain area about advocacy or lobbying or communications, anything, we're going to be accepting more volunteers as we restructure, and hopefully that will kind of open up and give the entire organization more roots to succeed going forward.
So now, if anyone was interested in contacting you or learning more or getting involved, what should they do?
So we're all over social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at AdvanceATL. You can also find me on Twitter. I'm at Dani, D-A-N-I, so female, Elkins. And we're also going to have a new website coming up, so there'll be all kinds of links on the website to each of the specific task forces that you can get involved in, and email addresses to contact us at. And then our big hope is that once the website and the logo and all that is done, we're going to have a big launch party in early summer, inviting everybody to come and celebrate with us what we've created, and then hopefully we'll get more people to sign up there as well.
Awesome. Also, the links will be in the description. They'll be on the website, the blog, on my Twitter as well at mgmgenius.com. So, from your experience and everything that you've done up until this point, I know you're very busy, very intelligent, and you've jumped through a lot of hoops to get to where you are today. So, if you had any words of advice to provide to anyone viewing or our audience, what would you tell them?
I think it's actually harder to do the right thing and to follow your passion and to make the difficult choices to try and figure out whatever that is for you. And I think people always say, oh, you always had this figured out and you must have this like plan that you're following. And I think that it's unfair to say. I think most people that are successful, you're just going day by day and trying to figure out what it is you want to do and how you want to make your impact. And so making it manageable for yourself and not setting unreasonable expectations of what you need to achieve in a certain amount of time. So much of what I figured out was figuring out what I didn't enjoy doing and didn't like to do, and process of elimination.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's like figuring out what your strengths are and what's important to you and your values and why you do things.
Right.
I think that inevitably helps you get there, and it doesn't need to be on a certain timeline, and there's no right way of doing anything. I think it's just believing in yourself and relying on your support system to make it happen, and just keep trying. Yeah.
Right. Now, is there any, if you can provide us with an example, is there anything recently that you learned about yourself or that you thought, okay, I was obviously going about something completely wrong, and then what did you do to fix that?
I think, it's easy to get caught up in what other people think should be what you're doing and where you're going. And I got a lot of advice that fit within a certain mold that was right within that mold, but something's making sense here. But when you're somebody who's trying to do something really different, it's hard to get advice because people don't know what something that doesn't exist looks like.
Or
they can't explain it to you, but to get there, yeah. So just kind of taking a step back and being like, okay, actually what I should be thinking about is bigger than what everyone is talking about, or different from what everyone is talking about, and allowing yourself to stay kind of outside in that bigger space and be comfortable there. It's terrifying, but it can be also very rewarding and exciting and interesting. And so for me, I'm just constantly pushing myself to talk to new, different people that are outside my space that can challenge me, to give me perspective on what I do and how I can do it better and improve on it. And I see progress. Like you have these breakthrough moments. You have your days where you're like, why are we doing this? And then you have, hopefully the next day is like, this is what I'm doing. This is so exciting. This is amazing. And I figured out.
And one of the things you mentioned, a point about how people, you don't want to necessarily consult people that know you because they've never really done it before. So how does that relate to your support system? I mean, you have people that support you no matter what, but you seek outside of that circle. Because is it just for a realness to people that are going to be blunt and upfront, or it's a complete outside perspective because they don't know you? So you think
I want people that are going to give me ideas that no one I've talked to before can give. Because if I'm only talking to people in the transportation space or in the government space, they're going to tell me what they know from their experience, which is very similar to my experience. Where if I talk to somebody who's in the tech space, they're like, oh, did you know that there's all these companies that are trying to get into your space but don't understand your space, but they're doing all these other cool, amazing things. And it makes you just go, oh, like I need to, there's so much different things that could happen in my space. And I think the way that we get there is by getting ideas from other people that are outside the space. Because we've been doing things, infrastructure transportation is a very traditional space. We've been doing things the same way for a very long time. And we can kind of tend to be a little stuck in our ways at times. Engineers can be that way. You're problem solving, but you're like, why would I change? I've always done it. It's always worked this way. So pushing yourself to say, okay, this works, but could it be better? It can apply to even to a basic product that you use on a daily basis, where you go yeah, this toothbrush works, but what if it was electric? Somebody had to think of that. This could be better.
Make it an easy process.
So there's a lot happening in transportation in terms of autonomous vehicles and electric vehicles and what that is going to do to change the space. And there's a lot of really interesting conversations happening and kind of how those things are going to interact with traditional infrastructure.
Right.
We're still going to use the same roads, just a different vehicle on and so there's just a lot of really. But then people bring up conversations like, okay, that's great, we're gonna have autonomous vehicles, but like, if you're doing a ride share that's autonomous vehicle and you're a mother, where are you supposed to put? Are you supposed to carry the stroller with you everywhere
Right.
you go, and the car seat? And is there going to be space for luggage, or are there going to be car seats that you can rent along with the ride share? Can you request a minivan with a baby seat already in it, so I don't have to carry it? Like, there's so many other things you have to
So
think
many
about
variables.
for every single different user. And we tend to only apply it to a single kind of basic user. Oh, this person uses this to get to work, and that's it.
Right.
Not thinking about, well, what about the person who's going to the airport? What about the person who's going to the doctor? What about the person who has children with them? What about the person who is disabled? How are they going to have the same access as a regular person?
Right, and I think you guys touched on that in a video pitch that you did, where you see certain testimonies from people. A woman traveling
Yeah.
from Cobb County, and her
Oh.
commute was 4 hours.
It's
I mean, that
heartbreaking.
is unbelievable.
She spends more time on the bus on her daily commute than in class.
Right.
And she's going to class to further opportunity and give herself a better life.
Right.
She shouldn't have to spend 4 hours on a bus and 5 different payment methods and then walk a mile to get that opportunity. That's kind of ridiculous that
Right.
we expect that or accept it as normal. It's not.
Not at all. Not at all. Well, hopefully, Advance Atlanta will change that. So, anything else you want to say on Advance Atlanta? Any last words?
Just looking for as many new volunteers as possible. People that are interested in it. You don't need to know anything about transportation or advocacy. This is a safe place to learn and get involved and have an impact on your community in a specific way.
All right. Amazing. Danielle Elkins, Vice President of Advance Atlanta. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.